I love.
Hi.
So, hey guys, Kevin here, Life22, and I've got Duane Whitmer. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So I got Duane on the show, and first off, I love how your name comes across. If I move my screen here, I don't know if the audience can see it, but it says Lindsay, which is amazing. But
Yeah.
anyways, Duane is running for U.S. House of Representatives, which is at a federal
Yes.
level. For those of you who don't know, it's not Common Council.
Yeah. I'm running for Congress in New York's 27th district, which is parts of Erie, Niagara County, Genesee, Livingston, Wyoming, Ontario or Orleans, parts of Ontario, parts of Monroe counties. So it's a massive district.
And I'm actually looking at your subtitles. I don't see any of that stating Cattaraugus, where I'm located.
Correct. You guys are Tom Reed. I think you guys are NY23.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. I am the Libertarian candidate. So I'm a third-party independent candidate. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. So we're looking to kind of build our party and start some conversations.
Okay, awesome. Well, I mean, I was a big supporter of Larry Sharp, who was your gubernatorial candidate a few years ago.
Yeah, he was the man.
Yeah, he was. He still is the man. He's a smooth talker. I mean,
Yep.
I've seen him on all sorts of podcasts. He tripped up on a good one that I liked, which is Joe Rogan. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan, and I feel like he kind of stumbled a lot because I don't think Joe got him. I feel like I understood his point, and I disagreed with Joe. And
yeah,
it made him come up like a schmuck.
I'm actually on Larry's show tomorrow at 2. But yeah, I did watch it. Larry's actually I didn't realize I was libertarian. This is why we need good candidates, and I like to think I'm a good candidate. A good example of this is good candidates start the conversation and get people thinking. So I didn't realize I was a libertarian until 2016 when I saw Gary Johnson, and I looked into it and said, well, you know, I grew up in Franklinville, New York, which is down near you guys, and my friends and family, I still have family and stuff down there still, and I was a one-issue voter because growing up in Franklinville, I grew up low income. A lot of my friends went to the armed forces or they went overseas, and I became pretty anti-war pretty quick when my friends aren't coming back the same as they're going over there, whether it's mentally or physically. They weren't the same, and so you get pretty anti-war pretty quick. And I didn't feel that either of the two parties was going to stop the never-ending war because it's not their friends, it's not their family. There are a couple of veterans in office, but it's not many. And they profit off of war. I mean, the government can profit, and a lot of these big corporations profit off of war. They're who donates to Congress. They're the ones that are declaring the war. It's a nightmare. It's a never-ending theme. So I was Republican, but I wasn't really happy. I ended up leaving the Democratic Party because of the same issue that the Republican Party started the Iraq War, and the Democratic Party continued it and started more wars. So both parties say they're anti-war till they're in charge, and then they're furthering the never-ending war. So I started following Gary Johnson and voted for him in 2016, kind of as a protest. Knew he wasn't going to win because third parties struggle to win races, but it was my way of saying that the two parties have failed, and this is my protest. And really liked Gary Johnson. I really liked what he said and said, well, maybe this could be a party for me. But I didn't see a lot of movement. I didn't see a lot of growth. And then Larry came around in 2018, and I said, okay, now I can start to take this party seriously. I met Jim Ostrowski, who's an attorney in the Liberty Movement, and I said, this is the place for me. We're an up-and-coming party. We lose a lot. We get beat a lot because we're a small party. We don't have the resources in the capital of the two big parties. But I'll tell you what, I opened a small accounting firm at 25. I ran track at Fredonia State after getting hurt my senior year. I've been fighting the uphill battles my whole life. I grew up low income. I said, what's another fight, especially for something I truly, truly believe in? So got involved in the LP, and I'm just hoping that maybe someone saw Larry and I can help confirm that they're libertarian, get them involved, get them active. Stuff like that. Grow the party, grow the movement, grow the chapter. Work with Jim Ostrowski.
He was kind of your Morpheus.
Yeah.
He was your
Um,
Morpheus. He was the guy that was broaching. He kind of woke up a lot of sleeper cells and said, "Hey, listen, blue pill or red pill, or do you want
yeah,
this yellow one? Do you
and
want
I
the?" He
took the
gave people the option of the yellow pill.
yeah, and I took the gold pill. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and Larry helped me kind of get follow, get involved, and I met, like I said, I met Jim Ostrowski and Steve Filano. Uh, Steve Filano's the leader of 2A NYS, which is probably one of the top gun rights group. It's an up and coming gun rights group in New York State. You should talk to Steve. He's a wonderful person to talk to.
Okay.
Gun rights groups in New York State have kind of become defensive. Um, Albany passes laws and they whine about it. Steve is kind of becoming on the offensive. We're going after Albany. We're going after Cuomo. We're going after the politicians who aren't living up to what they say they'll do. And so it's no longer defensive. Well, we held a rally and had some yard signs. We got to get out the gun vote, which has failed. It's going after Cuomo. It's going after these politicians. It's going after kind of the lame duck pro-gun politicians, and it's starting, and it's an up and coming movement. But I'm telling you what, he's kicking butt. So getting involved with them has just solidified my libertarian views, and this coronavirus shutdown and crisis have solidified my libertarian views even more. The federal government's reaction to this coronavirus is atrocious. Our leaders have
telling
failed.
me I copied and pasted a buddy of mine. He's a big guns guy, right? Loves it, and that's actually the theme for this month. Last night I did my April theme. Normally I try to do it around the 1st. Last night I did it this month's theme for life theming. So a lot of themes have self-betterment. Maybe they teach you about something that most people are against, right? Like most little old ladies are against marijuana. So last year in March we did March for Marijuana. You don't have to smoke it. You can smoke more if you want. You can just research it. Be aware of it. This month is Artillery April. If you like guns, buy one. Get more ammo because shit's hitting the fan right now, and it doesn't hurt to have a stockpile because the stuff really doesn't go that bad. It doesn't.
Well, let me ask people this. Do you have faith in society? It makes no sense. I'm pro-gun. I own a few firearms. I am the most pro-2A candidate on the ballot come June for NY27 in November. I'm pretty far 2A. It's because I grew up in Franklinville. My dad's a farmer in Arcade. I grew up around guns and stuff, and they weren't a hobby. They weren't a fascination. They weren't an obsession. They're a tool. Farmers use them to defend their crops and their animals. People use it to defend their homes, because if you're in Franklinville, New York, sometimes cops are 30 minutes away. It's nothing other than a way to defend yourself and your property and your life. It's not as big of a deal as some of these people make them seem. The only problem you have now is a lot of gun stores are being forced to close by Cuomo because of Cuomo, and they're taking stuff off the shelves and stuff, which it's terrifying, because this is the time where you said you should be, because you have police that are, City of Buffalo, they said, 30 of our police officers came down with coronavirus. They have to quarantine. They're down 30 officers. So there goes response times. We're not investigating certain crimes. That's not a good thing. Road patrols are down.
What happens when the looting starts? Like, I have a feeling like if this progresses, people, like, the government can only provide food and stimulus checks for so long, and then people aren't going to be able to afford food. The government's not going to be able to dish out food stamps to everybody. They're just going to run out of money. When they run out of money, the looting's going to start. You're going to have your neighbors turning on you going, well, shit, I know that asshole's got a whole bunch of toilet paper. That's the reason for the shirt. Survived the shortage. And I've got little brown poop stains all over the shirt. But, and it's like all the neighbors are going to come after you because they know you've got food. Well, if you've also got guns, they're going to think twice. And sometimes, you know what I mean?
It's basic deterrent. Firearms. It's not even about shooting someone or needing to shoot someone. It's about basic common sense. If I'm a criminal, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at a neighborhood. I'm looking for certain things. If their lights are on, if they have like spotlights, if they have beware of dog signs, if they have a protected by Smith & Wesson sign, an ADT sign. If I'm
a big sign that says a gun lives here.
Right.
Yeah.
If I'm a criminal, I'm looking for a house with no dog, that maybe the lights are always off, there's no cars in the driveway. I'm looking for simple deterrence. And a firearm is a simple deterrent.
Yeah.
If a criminal doesn't want to get shot in the face, his job is to do his job, take what he wants, and then move on, whether it's sell it, pawn it, eat it, use it, whatever he wants to do.
Right.
He doesn't want to get shot. He doesn't want to get arrested. He doesn't want to get bit. He wants the quickest in and out.
Snatch and grab. Yeah.
Right. So they're looking for visual deterrence. But if he's in your house, if I'm a criminal and I'm intelligent, I'm in your house and I hear a shotgun rack.
Yeah.
I'm no longer going to be in your house, and there's going to be a poop stain, a poop trail of me as I run out of your house because I know that I'm going to die.
Right.
It's not about Wild West type shootouts. It's about basic deterrence.
Yeah.
There are bad people out there. There are evil people out there that will literally kill you if they're given the opportunity.
Right. There always has been.
Yeah. And
there
always will be.
There are currently, and there always will be. People like all these, hey, we got to protect our kids. You can't let your kids walk to school because they could get picked up by pedophiles. Pedophiles exist back in Macomb County when they were writing To Kill a Mockingbird. They existed far before then. Those people were kidnapping. These people were kidnapping tons of people. I walked to school. My parents gave me the candy van story. Like, stranger danger, you don't get in the van. But there wasn't like hey, we're not going to let you walk to school because we think that a couple kids are on milk cartons. No, they...
Right. And that's the scary thing, is that people are starting to blame guns for our problems. But it's not guns. It's an underlying fundamental societal problem. But because you're seeing with this crisis... What you're seeing with this crisis is that the federal government is a useless organization, and so they don't know how to solve. Sorry, I gotta adjust my camera real fast.
Yeah, phone. Okay. I was gonna say the phone battery dying on you.
Yeah, I gotta just adjust. The federal government. You're seeing it with this coronavirus crisis. The government doesn't know how to solve your problems, and it's getting proven with what's going on now. So what you have is a federal government that can't solve the problems. So your politicians, instead of doing something about it, they're just blaming guns. We don't know how to stop bullying. We don't know how to fix public schools. We don't know how to stop gun violence. So instead of talking like adults about the underlying fundamental societal issues, they just ban guns.
Well, yeah, they ban topics. They ban something, and eventually you got 1,000 regulations. Yeah. To try to make the clouds stop moving in the sky, and the clouds don't give two fucks. Excuse my language.
Here's what's stupid. Here's what's stupid about federal government. We have a problem with bullying and gun violence. Okay. We're going to ban guns. That's like saying, hey, Kevin, you just fell down the stairs and broke your arm.
Let's ban stairwells.
We put a Band-Aid on your knee. You're better now. We gave you medical attention. Your arm's still broken. It did nothing to solve the problem. The problem is still there. Well, no, we put a Band-Aid on. We're heroes. We are heroes.
I actually do that with my kids. They'll fall down. They're not actually hurt. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a whole nother situation.
I know, but I've done the Band-Aid. Like, you want me to put a Band-Aid on it? How about I give you a magic kiss and it'll feel better? Like, I act like the government. Now, their problem isn't the same correlation, but my response is the same that the government does.
So what you're saying is your kids are progressive Bernie Sanders fans. Yes. Essentially yes.
Everyone was young once, right? Remember, I remember being super liberal when I was slightly younger.
I think there's an underlying joke about the mentality of a lot of Bernie progressives, but no, and it's true, is that what you have with the progressive agenda, people say, well, Bernie Sanders and libertarians can't get along. We identify a lot of the same problems. Our solutions are different. My solution is, I have a problem with something. Let me solve it myself. I'm an adult. I'm 33 years old. I can go shop for my own health care. I can shop and decide what I want to defend myself. The Bernie Sanders side is, hey, you're too stupid to figure out how to get healthcare, or you shouldn't have to do it because it's complicated and it's hard. Someone should do it for you. It's very, very kind of insulting if you think about it. It's well, hey, gun owners, you're too stupid to own a gun. You might shoot yourself in the face with it. You shouldn't have it. What do you mean? Well, there's gun violence and you're an idiot. So that's all it is. It's basic stupidity. It's basic, I don't have any faith in you to run your own life. I'm to tell you how to do it.
You know what? Some of the stupidest people I know that are gun fans are also like the most responsible gun owners. Oh, yeah. So so, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of smart people that I know, there's more of them that hate guns.
Right.
And then the stupid people, they all love guns. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a scale. Like, there's smart people like you and I that own guns, know how to use them. But there's some, like, I have a couple friends that, like, I go hunting, I love hunting, I love guns. You know what I mean? And they they don't know how to articulate. What's up?
Hope they're not watching this podcast.
I don't think they don't pay for that internet. This just has the Netflix. but no, I mean, like, I know a lot of those people, and they are like, they're very good, wholesome people. And you get some intelligent guy that doesn't know how to use a gun, you could easily send them to their house, and they would show you how to dismantle a gun in an hour. That Forrest Gump, I broke down my gun, sir.
Well, and that's because they are tools, and everyone knows how to respect your tools. Yeah. If you're a hunter, your firearm, again, this isn't Call of Duty, Wild West, wannabe thug rap video bullcrap. It is a tool that you use to support and feed your family.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just picked up bow hunting this year.
Yeah.
And actually I just ran into a buddy of mine. He went over to Iraq, and he's back now, and he's, taking classes, and he was like, I ran into him, and he's like, I was telling him I took up bow hunting. He's like, dude, I shoot in the backyard every day. He's like, I got PTSD and all that, and he's like, he goes, I go out in the woods, and he goes, I go stumping. He goes, he's got rubber rounds that go on the front of his arrows, and he'll set up targets in the woods and take different angles. And then he goes, squirrel season starts. He goes, man, you know how hard it is to bow hunt squirrels? He's like, but that's, you know what I mean? And it's therapeutic. Like, he's mentally, like, relieving himself of, trauma.
Yeah. So. And that's why, speaking to your friend, that's why I'm libertarian, is he shouldn't have PTSD from Iraq, because we shouldn't be there. So, that's kind of, it's true. And that therapy and that stuff's good for these people, because they're coming back and they're getting treated like garbage. The VA system is atrocious. It's not well run. There's socialized medicine for you. It's a nightmare. So it's good to see that he's got a way to, kind of combat his PTSD and do what he needs to do. But, I have a ton of friends that, how do I put this? My friend group that are the biggest Bernie supporters are probably my least successful friends. There's a couple people that's not true. So if you're
trying not to, I get what you're saying. You try not to offend them. It's kind of like me with the dumb guy who owns guns and knows everything about them versus the, like, I could put my friends into categories, and there's a couple stereotypical ones that the average Joe thinks about, right?
Yep.
And then I've got another friend of mine, never owned a gun before, just bought one, and like, we're taking him out shooting this weekend so he can learn how to. He doesn't know how to load his tube in his shotgun. So,
I mean, I would say 90% of my friends who are the biggest Bernie fans don't own a business, don't have a good job. They blame everyone else for their problems. Like, there's a correlation, and I feel bad saying it. Like, they're friends. I love them to death.
Yeah.
But it's tough because it's like, guys, now there are some people that it's different. I have some friends who are successful that support Bernie because they feel that their success wasn't earned or whatever they want to say. I disagree with them, but I understand. You can't hate them. But I'm starting to see a lot of my small business clients, a lot of my small business owning friends are starting to switch to libertarianism, especially when they see how much they pay in taxes. And they say, wait a minute, I'm paying, 40, 50, 60% to taxes. I'm not satisfied. And I say, well, yeah, man, you're getting ripped off. Look at our stimulus bill. How much does it cost the taxpayer to get $350 billion, $2 trillion. As an accountant, I can tell you that math doesn't add up. 350 billion does not equal 2 trillion.
Right.
We were robbed. This stimulus bill shafted us. Simple as that. You know, we should be pissed off at our representatives for taking advantage of a crisis and exploiting us.
You're talking about the bank stimulus package a few years ago, right?
No, I'm talking about the new one. This the stimulus checks and stuff coming out. The CARES Act. You look like you're deep in thought.
No, I just also got a text message about a gun I ordered, so.
Oh, nice. No, this CARES Act, this $2 trillion spending CARES Act for the coronavirus, it's garbage. It's
and what's the government doing? Printing money.
We're selling our children's and grandchildren's futures for $1,200. It's terrible. The federal government has let us down. Congress has let us down.
So my buddy who's a big gun guy, he left New York to go to Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And
now Pennsylvania might go blue.
Yeah. Well, he put a post up about Italy's situation, like the death rates and the percentage and correlations and stuff like that. And it was very reasonable and made sense. And like even all of the comments on it made sense. And it said, I don't make posts public, just copy and paste. And so I copied and pasted to my Facebook today. I got nonstop. Like I post stupid stuff like all day long. Not all day long, but I'll post quotes from like 10 years ago. Well, some are very like well thought out, like quotes from judges. Students don't shirk their rights as they enter the schoolhouse doors. You know what I mean? That was a judge from Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like it was, and I was, batting him out of the park. I had 3 good ones, and then I had an Adam Carolla quote that came across my Facebook, and it was masturbation. Years of masturbation have made my hands very nimble. Nobody like sometimes I'll get like, that's a very sensible quote, Kevin, and then you know what I mean, and somebody will laugh at the Adam Carolla one, but I don't get any real comments on them. And then today I copy and paste this, and I've got people being assholes to me out of the woodwork that I haven't seen in a decade.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to him in a decade. You have no emotion or compassion. Only on Facebook will you see nonsense.
Yeah, it's insane. It's an absolute nightmare.
So I have a theory.
Yeah.
My theory, and I've been talking to a couple of attorney buddies of mine about this, is not just are we crippling our economy, but now we're printing money, right? And printing money, there was a governmental organization, it was a government of Germany after World War I that started just printing money like crazy and hyperinflated the economy. And then the economy crashed, leaving the door for Hitler to walk in for World War II.
Yeah. I mean, here's my catch-22 as a libertarian. Part of me wishes people would take us seriously and start to walk away from their parties and vote for us. But then part of me says we're going to have a Bernie Sanders-esque president in our future. We're gonna have
Donald can only run so many times.
One of his disciples will rise up. You're seeing AOC, you're seeing his disciples. One of them will be president. I hope it happens sooner than later, so when our economy collapses, I'm young enough to survive. Simple as that. I think it's to the point where we need a complete teardown of our system. I mean, we're going to see as we go, so does the global economy. You're going to see a global financial ruin soon.
I think it's coming very soon. I mean, like I said, going into that, if the United States has the economy collapse and then hyperinflation sets in, I think you're going to notice that people are going to be up in arms, and you're going to notice that the United States is way larger than Germany. And I'm not much of a geography guy, but I can only just imagine the size of Germany compared to the United States. So what is it, like one Texas? You know what I mean?
I think Germany is a quarter the size of the United States. Don't quote me on that, but I think
okay, right, but it's clearly smaller.
Yeah.
And so one person could run Germany, right? One dictator could take over Germany. That's foreseeable. But
Germany like one? Sorry, I used to know this, but sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I just feel like the United States breaks down and collapses, right? Like everything's in chaos. You're up from the ashes. You're going to watch multiple territories ensue. You're
Yes.
going to see. You're going to see like the United States is going to break up into 5 to 10 districts,
Yep.
and they're all going to be run by dictator-esque factions.
Yeah.
With sleeper cells, like guys like you and me are going to be like, no, we are the resistance of the old republic. Like this is, you know what I mean? We're going to be the terrorists to those guys because we are going to, you know what I mean, always hold a gun and, you know, fight to the death for what we once believed in, that we could hope to still establish it again. But I have a feeling that's the way it's going to go. And I know it sounds bleak and doom and gloom, but I have a feeling in the next decade we're going to see that.
Yeah, there's actually been studies done on YouTube by YouTube analysts and policy analysts that the United States will break up. You're going to see the Northeast, the liberal Northeast. You're going to see the Northeast, the Southeast, the Southwest, California, kind of the West Coast, and then the Midwest. You're going to see a handful of different, and I think it's due. If you look at the size of our country and just how different we are, look at New York State, for example. Look at New York City to Buffalo to, you know, Olean. You're three different, completely different people. Someone
Yeah.
who lived in New York City their whole life, for someone who lived in Buffalo their whole life, for someone who lived in Olean their whole life, even though they grew up 8 hours apart, they're almost three different entire beings.
Oh yeah.
And so you're going to see, I think that's one reason why people are like, well, in Sweden, they have socialized medicine. Yeah, because they have streamlined government. Our federal government, we can't continue to expand federal government because our country is so large, just size-wise, not even population-wise with 330 million people, but just size-wise, you can't have an efficient centralized government. You just
Right.
can't do it.
So yeah, so if you start thinking about it, like, and I never, you know what I mean, I followed history to like you know, the day before the test.
Yep.
Like England, they tried to take over the entire world, and they have colonies everywhere. Then they finally just had to give them all up. And my assumption is, because that's the part I just kind of forgot, is why they gave control of India back to India, why they gave the Philippines up.
Supply chain.
What's up?
If I recall, the supply chain.
Oh yeah, see, they couldn't support supplying all these places at such radical distances. The United States is not a radical distance. At least it's all in one, under one umbrella. You know, like one landmass. But
Right.
still, like trying to send stuff to South Africa, trying to send stuff to Australia, all the different places that the English influence was, and then you had rebellious parties like the founding fathers. You
Right.
know, it just
Well, that's what happened in those countries, is that, England owns, India. Well, India, a bunch of Indians get pissed because, hey, wait a minute, our leader, kind of like what you have in New York, what you kind of have in this country. Hey, wait a minute, our leaders are in D.C., thousands of miles away. We don't like this, and they started rioting, and they started uprising. They said, hey, we want better leadership that represents us. And it's similar to the United States. I mean, let's think about it. But yeah,
it's just on a smaller scale. And now with technology and everything is almost like everything's got an exponent to it nowadays, because as our evolution goes, technology's going. Like 2 weeks from now, I won't need this microphone. I'll just have a little box on the desk, and I'll say, hey, render the whole room, and I want an image like this for Duane to see. You know, and everything goes so fast and so quickly that you're just like, man, versus, what was it? It took 300-400 years for England to kind of broach its way from, taking over Scotland and, you know what I mean, to all these different places. It was slow. It wasn't like in 1 week they did it, they did it over hundreds of years, you know what I mean? And now, but technology wasn't that great. Longbow was the best form of artillery they had that was long distance.
Right. I mean, it's going to be a nightmare. There's a study. I wish I knew who did it. I listened to it with Steve and Jim, but there's a guy who actually said that the United States will break up into 11 different countries. And honestly, I listened to him and I said, it sucks.
I just worry about, like, who would you give the world power to then? China?
No, I think that we'd be okay. I mean, Texas is the fifth largest. What is it? Texas and California are two of the largest economies in the world. by themselves. So I think we'd still have good power.
And we would just be like we'd have our own like UN.
Yeah, yeah,
We'd be like an alliance of 11 states.
yeah, kind of. I mean, it could work, I mean, think about it. Just think about these other countries that have more like quote unquote socialized things. They're smaller, so the federal government is smaller and it's so streamlined. It's like picture if New York State was its own country.
Yeah.
So all the federal taxes, state taxes, local taxes all go to Albany, and they're not going to DC and filtering through bureaucrats and offices and yada yada yada.
Trickle down theory.
So yeah, people say trickle down economics doesn't work. Okay, great. But then if you think trickle down economics doesn't work, you have to acknowledge trickle down taxation won't work, which means I give taxes to DC and it filters down through the red tape into my community. It's not going to work either.
No, we're all like hungry fish. These small communities vying for grant money, whether it's state or federal.
Right.
Like that's the same thing. If we just kept more of kept more of our share of our taxes where we are, we wouldn't have to try. We would have little chunks of big lump sum grant money that we could save up like normal, not stupid adults and say, listen, we're going to start saving this money year after year. And then we'll be able to put a down payment on that capital project, which we might have to borrow for, but at least we have more funding to do it.
And that's actually the libertarian philosophy. A lot of people think, oh, libertarians, you want a road without stoplights and you want a Mad Max Wild West society. No, the libertarian ideology is that government has a reason to exist, and that's to protect us from the bad people out there. But also we're about decentralization and local government.
Yeah.
Local government should have more power, because how the hell am I, as someone in DC, someone from Hamburg, New York, going to tell a farmer in Wyoming County how to live his life? I don't know his life. I don't know what he needs, but his local government might. So we want to provide more power to local government and allow them to make the decisions, or allow the individual to make more decisions about their own life. Why should I tell you how to live your life? Don't hurt people. Don't take their stuff.
That's I tell people that all the time, even when I'm running for election. So people ask, are you big government? I'm like, nah, not really. I'm very minimal government guy. You know what I want? I want crackheads to not break into my house, kill my kids, and steal my shit. That's what I want police for. I would like, now it doesn't even have to be a paid fire force. I would just like some sort of entity, whether it's a group of volunteers. I grew up in Connecticut where everybody had a volunteer fire department. Yeah. And those group of volunteers, what's funny is they have, still to this day, they have a better knockdown rate than any paid fire department in New York State, because the workers' comp won't let firefighters into burning buildings typically, unless it's an extreme emergency. You know what I mean? They're knocking down fires. They're saving kids. Like most of the time you let them burn, their controlled burns. They let them go down. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They try to put it out from a distance. It's like those guys were going in and dumping pails of water on it because they were passionate about what they were doing. They didn't have to make six figures to do it. You know what I mean? So like, I would like my community to have something that would stop fires from wiping out neighborhoods. Yep. I would like a police force, somebody to enforce those rules about not letting crackheads come in. I could give two fucks about SEC rules. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. If you want to get involved with legalized governmental gambling, that's on you. It's gambling. It's risks. There's going to be a dealer that's pocketing cards. You know what I mean? Like, that's what happens when you gamble. Like, you take that risk. It's an assumed risk. And the other thing I want is level and clear roads for transportation and commerce.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm at 1%, so if my phone dies, I apologize. It's plugged in, but it's struggling to charge.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, and that's it. Government should provide a limited amount of resources and provide the resources to allow you to live your best life. They don't need to tell you how to live. They don't need to run your life for you. They just need to make sure that you can live your life as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
So, well, I don't want you to get cut short on me, so I'd rather just kind of...
I understand.
Do our to-dos and have a nice sign off. So, ladies and gentlemen, Duane Whitmer running for U.S. Senate.
House.
U.S. House.
There you go.
U.S. House in District
NY27.
NY27. So if any of those counties that he mentioned at the beginning are one of yours, please vote for Duane. He is a super awesome guy, and I don't get any other comments from anybody else to come on the show. So, I mean, you know what I mean? It's because those Republicans, Democrats, and the Green Party and working families are too good for us. So, and Duane took that time out of his night after he's already live on Facebook podcast, burning his phone at that midnight oil to try to get this podcast in. So we appreciate you, Duane. And
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. We'll try to catch you on a non-Thursday night. Maybe we'll get you on another podcast before the election.
Can't wait. Take care, brother. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. You too. Thanks. Bye.